In this video, we're going to look at another example of using unit rates to solve application problems. Represent the following scenarios as unit rates in the indicated ways, then use this information to answer the corresponding questions. Let me get the highlighter ready. The valve on Ray's washing machine is leaking. He puts a bucket under the leak to catch the water. The next day, after 24 hours, Ray checks the bucket and it has 8 gallons of water in it. Use this information to complete the table below. Okay. So we can assume that the washing machine is leaking at a constant rate, so it's probably some sort of drip. It isn't bursting with water and then stopping. So here's our number of hours, here's our number of gallons, okay? And we know 24 hours corresponds to 8 gallons. I'm going to fill that in. Now I want to fill in these other values, and I'm looking at the hours. I put in ones that are useful and easier for us to think about. Notice that 12 hours is half of 24 hours, so the amount of water that would leak would be half of 8 gallons. So I'm going to divide 8 by 2, so in 12 hours it would leak 4 gallons. Notice 6 is half of 12, so in 6 hours it would leak half of 4 gallons, which is 2 gallons. In 3 hours is half of 6 hours, so it would leak half of 2 gallons, which is 1 gallon. And now here's going to be our unit rate in 1 hour. Well, 1 is 1/3 of 3, okay? So it's going to leak 1/3 of 1 gallon. Okay. So notice here, the pattern I was looking at was dividing by 2, so I divided these by 2. And I did that a few times. My goal was to get the unit rate in gallons per hour. So here I divided 4 by 2, and here 3 was half of 6, so I divided 2 by 2. And here 1 is 1/3 of 3, so I divide 3 by 3 to get 1, and 1 by 3 gives me 1/3. Okay. So, what is the leak's unit rate in gallons per hour? How can you determine this from the table? So, it is 1/3 gallons per hour. Okay. We can also write this as 1/3 gallons over 1 hour. And we read this from the first column. Okay. I'd like to add here, just looking at the original information, okay, we could find the unit rate by simplifying with the original numbers we were given. It's 8 gallons in 24 hours, and 8 over 24 simplifies to 1/3 gallons per hour. Okay, so I wanted you to see these patterns, but we can also find that unit rate more directly. Now we're asked, using the unit rate of gallons per hour, how much water will leak in 9 hours. Also write the corresponding proportion. Okay. So we don't have 9 hours in our table. I can see that it's 9 is halfway between 6 and 12, so it's going to be halfway between 2 and 4. So I know our answer is going to be 3. And that's useful multiplicative thinking, and we're also going to check it using this process. So I'm going to use this form. We have 1/3 gallons per 1 hour. I'm going to multiply that by 9 hours. I verify that I have hours in the denominator and numerator, and they cancel. So I'm basically multiplying 1/3 times 9. And my unit that remains is gallons, which is what I'm looking for. And 1/3 times 9 1 times 9 is 9 over 3. So it's 9/3, which is 3 gallons. And that corresponds with what we found here. Now let's write the corresponding proportion. We're a little low on room. So we can say 1/3 gallons is to 1 hour, as 3 gallons is to 9 hours. Notice to get from this ratio rate to this rate, I can multiply by 9. 1 times 9 is 9 hours. 1/3 times 9 gallons is 3 gallons. Now we're asked, using the rate of gallons per hour, how much water will leak in 13.5 hours. So we're going to use the same idea, but it's going to be 13.5. I can tell that's going to be a little larger than 4, a lot closer to 4 than to 8. I would guess about a little bit less than 5, but let's see. So we have 1/3. I'm just going to put gal per 1 hour times 13.5 hours. Okay, my hours cancel, so I know I set this up correctly. And now I'm going to multiply this on the calculator. I think we're going to get a repeating decimal. So first, I'm going to do 1 divided by 3, that's 1/3, and multiply by 13.5, which gives, oh, we didn't. We get 4.5 gallons. Okay. So, our corresponding proportion here, I'm going to use this one. Okay. We could say 3 gallons is to 9 hours, as 4.5 gallons is to 13.5 hours. So again, there's not one corresponding proportion. There's many, and I decided to use this rate that we'd already used because it had nicer numbers. Okay, but the idea here is to get from 3 gallons to 4.5 gallons, we'd multiply by a constant factor, and it's the same factor we'd use here, and I believe it is, well, it's 4.5 over 3 would be the multiplying factor. Let's look at the next question. Now we're going to find what is the leak's unit rate in hours per gallon. So we know it's 8 gallons in 24 hours. So now we're going to write hours per gallon is hours over gallons, 24 hours over 8 gallons. And this one's actually going to simplify more nicely. 24 divided by 8 is 3 hours per 1 gallon, and that makes sense because 3 over 1 is the reciprocal of 1/3. And we might write that as 3 hours per gallon. So this means it takes 3 hours for 1 gallon of water to leak. Okay, so this is a different way of thinking about it. So now, using the unit rate of hours per gallon, how long will it take for the bucket to contain 3 gallons of water? Okay. Well, we're going to start with our 3 hours per 1 gallon. We want to multiply by 3 gallons, because it will take 3 times as long for 3 gallons than 1 gallon. Okay. I'm noticing my gallons are canceling. That's good news. And this is just 3 times 3 with a unit left of hours. So that is 9 hours. Okay. So that makes sense. If it takes 3 hours for 1 gallon to leak, it'll take 3 times as much, or 9 hours for 3 gallons to leak. So let's write our proportion. So we have 3 hours is to 1 gallon, as 9 hours is to 3 gallons. And notice to get from here to here, we multiply by 3. That's our multiplicative factor. Now, if the bucket holds 10 gallons of water, how long can Ray go without emptying the bucket without the water overflowing? Okay. So we want to see if we find out how long it will take to have 10 gallons of water. That would be the absolute last minute he could empty the bucket, although it would probably be risky business with the bucket completely full. But that's the same idea. So we're going to use 3 hours for 1 gallon. Okay. And now we have 10 gallons of water, so it should take 10 times as long for 10 gallons to leak as 1 gallon. I notice my gallons cancel, and I get 3 times 10 hours, or 30 hours. So he can go 30 hours before emptying the bucket, although we recommend you do so sooner. Now let's set up the corresponding proportion. 3 hours is to 1 gallon, as 30 hours is to 10 gallons.